if we were to put that all together, what we're really talking about is implementing a BI system. It happens one time, right? I mean, basically we put together this system that we're going to use over and over and over. You have more to say?
Go ahead.
But we may have other BI systems we want to put in place, but we're hopeful we can use this and keep updating and keep upgrading it as we go forward. That's what I was talking about. Now, we're going to look at this related to change management, and we're going to try to see how it all fits together. So, just implementing the system is way before the change ever happens. It may be the change, which means it happens during that dip, but really, if we're talking about a major organizational change, this is one of the tools that we decide what to do, a decision-making tool. So unless your whole change is related to implementing this, then once you have it implemented, then it becomes a tool in order to make decisions on when and where to change. Okay? Now, the other side of this is using this tool. And here's a bunch of words. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at this, that using the BI process is the process in itself. And so do you want to touch on those real quick, or do you want me to go ahead and touch on them?
Go ahead, and then something comes out off.
All right, first we got to collect the data. So we got to collect the data if there's new data that's going to go into the system. Okay? We're going to formulate that data in and around the key primary indicators and of the business. So we got to figure out what the goals of the business are and what's key to the business. We analyze the data based on the key primary indicators, dimensions, or in conjunction with 2 or more of them, or 5 or more of them, depending on what we're going to look at. We got to analyze the data, we report the data, and we give the business user the ability to do this on their own. Okay, so that's the purpose.
Let me make a correction, because I did make a mistake when I wrote that up. And that was, all this I wrote up real quickly, firsthand. The KPI, normally what we refer to as facts, not dimensions. My fault. That's what revenue, expenditures, cost, profit. Those
I've always heard key performance indicators as the P is the
I was about to ask the same question.
Well, it's also their primary too. That's from I think Ralph Kimball referred to them as primary.
We're talking about the same thing, though.
Yeah, same type of thing.
Just another.
These are your metrics or your facts about the organization. The really the other is, and that defines your facts or your fact tables, and then your drivers or your dimensions, which are the ways you slice and dice it. And I wrote this up very quickly beforehand before I got into it. But keep in mind, the KPIs are your facts, and that refers to the whether it's the revenue you collect, the cost of it, or what the number of sales that goes out the door, the number of products come in, or whatever the case may be that you're doing. And then your drivers are going to be from the standpoint who's the salesman, which area, yada yada, of avenues of where the sales happen.
Right. Okay. Okay, so that's a lot of material. Now, let's look at this again. So we have before, during, and after the change. We have the development of the BI system. Okay, that's way before we need it. Then we have using it. That becomes before the change is made. So we're using that to help us make decisions on where change may be needed. And then this is related to the project management. This information, along with the business analysis stuff, would go into the concept phase. And so that's where it fit into project management. We're trying to make a decision on what we need to do, and that's coming up with the vision, and that's coming up with the concept. We should have that done by the time we start the project. Okay. Does anybody want to talk about that, or does that sound reasonable? Okay, let's see if we have anything else. Well, summary. So we're right on time, and we're not going to summarize it much. We went over a lot of material, but we have 3 phases of change, before, during, and after. 4 phases of project management, which could be divided in 100 different ways. But that's concept, planning, implementation, and closure. The planning, the concept comes before the change. The planning is really starting to go into during the change. The implementation is during the change, and the closure goes from during the change into to after the change. We have the business analysis part, which starts off long before the project, just deciding which project we're going to take. Then we have, as part of that, we're coming up with requirements. That's going into the concept phase. Then we're managing the requirements all the way through the project life cycle. Right? Okay, so then on BI, that's really before all of that stuff, because what we're trying to do is come up with a system that we can use in order to make decisions. And those decisions we're going to plug into different projects, hundreds of different projects. And the business analysts are going to use it in order to come up with requirements and key performance indicators in order to use it. Does that summarize it enough? Does that make sense? Is this thinking about it in a way that's a little bit different than what you maybe normally thought about it? And so does it help any? Do we have any final comments? Do we have any? I can't read your face. I don't know if you have something to add, or if you...
Let's just say that this is making me more willing to do some of the reporting that I don't like doing.
All right, you want to...
Okay. That looking at it in this fashion makes me more willing to work on some of the reporting that we've done, because reporting is not my favorite.
Oh, I hate it too. But we do it. I mean, it's part of the details. You got to do it, slow you down. Did you have something to say on those that you had? No. Okay. Anybody else have something they want to add before you go? Before we go? Because right at the end, we're heading great, huh? Yes, sir.
Something I didn't see on there was an issue of data quality. A data warehouse, data mart, or whatever, when you're merging transactional data, let's say, from a whole covey of disparate systems, even though the data can be valid, in one system it's a yes or a no, in another system it's a 0 or 1. It becomes a major burden of that ETL process to try to get them in a common format so you can so the report system can make sense of it. I didn't really see data quality mentioned on your slides.
Okay. See, where would that fit here?
ETL.
ETL right up here?
Yeah.
Our data model development. So it may be in there, but we didn't focus on that. So that's a good catch. Thank you very much. Any more comments? Because that was a really good comment. Of course, we know data quality is important. All right. Is that it? All right. That's it. Let's give a hand to everybody. All right. You guys are welcome. Do whatever you want now.